Welcome to This Week on the 6873 Show. Today we have an exciting show. I think you'll find it very interesting. We are actually interviewing CrazyJoe. He is a first-week creator, has a lot of fantastic stories. We look so forward to hearing from him today. Also, if you like the show, please like, subscribe, and share with everyone. It really helps us out. If you enjoy the shows, smash that like button, and please subscribe. It helps us out more than you can ever imagine. So, my name is Captain Ren. The other hosts of the show are...
Rossi. You have?
Ion and this beautiful woman next to me.
Okay. So today, before we start interviewing CrazyJoe, I want to say we actually have our first Patreon subscriber. Our very first. Thank you so much, Philinara, Felix. We love you. Keep supporting us on our Patreon. Please, we can't do this without you guys. And as we said, CrazyJoe is here, finally here. We've been trying to get a hold of you for a long time. Well, he's a hard man to come by.
Very busy.
Very
He's a
crazy,
miner,
very
but not
large.
in that way.
I'm a gold miner. Also mechanic, electrician, technician, plumber,
Nice.
engineer, bioengineer.
Ain't that what you call a
Work at a
handyman?
biolab. And
You've
jack of
kinda
all
done it all,
trades
haven't
and a
you?
master of all of them.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
framer,
Excellent.
Yes.
nailer,
Excellent.
roofer, septic. you
Sleeps
name
out
it.
there. You've done it.
Yep, it's like Larry the Cable Guy would say, "Get her done."
Nice.
Get her done.
Get her done.
Taters.
Get her done.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself. Like, I know that. So you're also a furry, and you kind of started in the furry
Yeah.
fandom a little bit later in life, and you're also
Yeah.
you've kind of really got into it. Like, you're now a first created. In fact, I think you said you're only one of 6 people in the world that creates fully animatronic fursuits.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. It's
And
a handful, they said, in the entire world.
excellent. So
Full
tell us a
animation.
little bit about
the
that.
jaw.
Mhm.
Yeah, the jaw actually snarls, moves, eyes blink, wink, ears move, eyebrows move. And I'd done this for years. And when I first got into the fandom in my blue fox, and I was walking around blinking, you know, just the usual stuff. And I noticed everybody had aesthetic faces. And this one lady comes up to me, known as Beef Jerky. She says, "You just blinked." I said, "Yes." I said, "Doesn't everybody else blink?" "No." I said, "What are we talking about?" I see it on TV all the time and whatnot, and I figure
Yeah.
everybody's fursuit
Mhm.
blinks, you know, at least something.
Yeah.
One time I had to wait in line, had my hands folded like this, and my eyes are closed. And I kept hearing whispers, so I popped my eyes open, and they're all staring at me. That was funny. That was 2011 at FC. And when I got in there to get my badge of gratuity, ladies asked me these goofy questions. So I kind of leaned over and I kind of snarled at her. I said, "Give it your best shot, ma'am." And she just kind of scooted her chair back. The whole room became silent. All I could hear was the fans and the computers running. I said, "Oh, crap, I just snarled at this poor woman. I'm sorry. I'd apologize real quick. The guy comes up to me.
Aw.
He says, "Would you just we're watching your head move and the functions. We dream at night for this stuff, and you're for real." I didn't know that. They finally got a snapshot of me. I had my paw here against my muzzle. I had one eye closed, and the guy just sat there waiting to take the picture. You know, I said, "Well, take the snapshot." So I closed my eye again, and then I kind of snarled at, "Take the picture, girl." He was getting a video of me instead of taking a snapshot. He says, "What else can that thing do?" "Well, the tail moves."
Aw.
So I turned around and hit the button, the tail zip, and I was driving everybody nuts. Next time, that same day, in other words, I got invited to like 500,000 parties, room parties, in other words. They all want to see how the suit, they want to see how I built the suit, because it's very form fitting. It looks like, almost like I'm wearing this thing right now. And
Mhm.
I showed him. We went to a panel on how to make fursuits. Guy was on the stage, blah, blah, blah. And I became a magnet for everybody else wants to know how I did the hand paws, the feet, and whatnot. Well, the guy says, "Get out of my room," in other words. I says, "You're disturbing me," like that. As soon as I left, I slid in, I left, and all of a sudden I had a whole herd of people follow me to the heads off room. I pulled away his audience.
You stole
They
the
want
show.
to hide. Yeah, and they want to know how you make a form-fitting suit with nothing detachable. The hand paws, the foot paws, the body, it's all one piece
Mm.
with one zipper.
Oh my word. Mhm.
Oh,
And the head is attached with a ring. So it's literally on there. I mean,
see.
it looks like these characters. I mean, literally. If you get on my YouTube site, it's the same thing as my name, in other words. But that's why they call me crazy in the first place. That's crazy. That's crazy. So the name stuck ever since.
Nice.
We will leave a link in the description below to his YouTube.
Good idea.
Definitely.
So one thing I've heard about your
So-
fursuits too is like the way you control them is a little
Yeah.
bit more unusual too, because I've seen some of them the controls are actually in the paws. Yours are
Yeah.
actually in your mouth.
Yeah, I use my tongue to hit the micro switches just above the roof of my inside the suit.
Mhm.
And
Oh.
sometimes I have to pop my jaw just slightly open just to hit the switches to activate.
Nice.
I know I scared the hell out of this one guy. Pulled on my tongue. This is what is a fetish? I was like, "It's a fetish, Jack," and I snarled at him. Oh, he sat there and screamed like a schoolgirl, but he pulled his hand away so fast. It was a grown man. I never heard a grown man scream like a schoolgirl before. But I should have took a video. I felt sorry for the guy, but I was laughing so stinking hard. My ribs are hurting. I mean, this guy was, I mean, he was shrieking.
Jesus. Oh god.
I mean, a
Now I
grown
know where to get a
man.
commission done. I need to get a commission
Yes.
done by him.
Yes.
Yes.
I made a few.
I was about to
circuits
do
like
an
that.
inappropriate joke, but I'm
Nah.
gonna refrain for that.
Yeah, we got to keep
So-
it pretty clean here because it is public. So yeah, I got all kinds of inappropriate
Somewhat.
jokes. No, not that.
We're 18 up. So,
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
okay, I'm just
You can
gonna
say
say
fox
it. You have a
jokes.
very strong tongue muscle then.
I do. Not like
Honey.
Kiss though. He's got a 6-foot tongue there.
That Gene Simmons.
I wish it was that long. I could have my real tongue in my suit. I get that ice cube at the bottom of the classic.
Oh, God.
Well, now we see where Toki's mind went.
What? Hey,
My
if
ribs are
I
hurting me.
didn't say it, y'all were gonna say it.
Yeah.
I just beat ya.
Whip.
Yes.
Get that
Yes.
tongue lash. I'm hurting right now. My ribs are hurting. I'm
Man.
laughing so hard.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
Oh,
I had
another
to
thing
do
too
it.
Skip.
is you actually create suits not just for the fandom. You also create
Yeah.
suits for like theaters and stuff too, don't you?
Yeah, I made a couple for one for Vox, two for Spartacus Cheetah,
Mhm.
and sometimes for the theater, I actually installed a muzzle that actually makes the werewolf snarl, and there'll be a little
Oh,
pump
neat.
inside to pump out water, and he had grown men
Oh.
screaming.
There's a lot of behind all this mechanics.
Yeah.
Like, I know now you're kind of used to doing it and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but in the beginning, wasn't it hard to make everything work and figuring out?
No,
How, no,
I did
okay.
experiments.
I like that.
I used what got me on the
No.
mechanics was watching VCRs work. If you ever took apart a VCR, how to pull the tape around the machine, it's the same thing. They use real flat worm drives, and I finally laid my hands on some Maxon motors with the gearbox because you need the horsepower. We're talking about not micro pounds, we're talking about 5 foot-pounds because it takes that much pressure to make them snarl and bring down the ears. To make them blink, I use the motors of the little mirror adjustments on the cars. They're tiny enough. Sometimes if I can't find them, I use the same motor out of a shaver, but they're like 1.5 volts. So I'm pumping 16 volts in these motors to get
Oh
the
my
power
word.
out of it. Sometimes I had to put a drop resistor to slow it down because it'd be blinking really fast. Trying to make a soft
Man.
blink. There's
I
no
swear to
Reduce,
God, I was
reuse, recycle.
Exactly.
yeah, recycled parts.
but
All of them.
oh, scared that my head would catch on fire. I'm sorry.
They're momentary. The you hit a switch, the motor runs. It's all binary, and it's not. There's no computer in there, so it's all
Okay.
what was that word they call? There's no logic in it. It's just a simple switch, motor, battery. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
analog. Just simple analog.
Analog. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't have computers back in the 70s and 80s. I don't think.
Oh, one thing too. In fact, if you're out there, you should definitely check out his channel. He actually has a video of one of his fursuits to show you how much poundage and how strong these are.
Yeah.
There's actually
Yeah.
a video of you crushing a can with your muzzle.
Yeah,
And,
ripping them
Oh,
apart.
excellent.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
Jesus.
soda cans rip. I know one time at a fur con, this guy was calling us freaks and whatnot, and he shouldn't even been there, this guy. And I said, that soda can, can I have it, please? Sure, I don't know what the hell you want it for. So I ripped it in half. There's next word I hear coming out of your mouth that's bad about us. Oh, I'm out of here. He took off running. He
I was
disappeared.
about to say,
Brilliant.
be aware, you
Oh my
might
gosh.
lose an arm or two.
He just gone. I
I'll
mean,
go foul on your ass.
Exactly.
unreal. His eyes got about the size of saucers. He froze just a little bit, you know, when I tore that can in half, fighting for him.
Oh,
Most
excellent.
You
fursuits
see-
can't do that. They're all plastic, rubberized, or mine are
Yeah.
titanium alloy, bolted with stainless
I'd have-
bolts. The heads weigh about
I'd
between
have
10
way
and
too much
15
fun.
pounds, so they're heavy.
Hmm.
But
Well, I have
the
seen
Fennec is
other
15
furs-
pounds.
I've seen other fursuit makers. Now we're talking about the protogens and stuff like that. But you
Yeah.
can actually have the whole
Yeah. Yeah,
computerized, if you may say like that. The whole screen, like they're looking
yeah.
through.
There's one guy that actually builds those things for a living. His name is Hixby Fox,
Uh-huh.
and he's got a protogen. He has 2 onboard computers, Raspberry computers, and the whole head would literally light up in different patterns, and it actually follows his
Mhm.
voice pattern. And
Oh,
it's a white,
that's cool.
white green fox character.
Yeah.
And he's known as
Because
Hixby
I've,
Fox.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And-
I've seen those around. I follow one on TikTok
Yeah.
who's also an avatar creator
Mhm.
in VR
Yeah.
chat. She actually from Denmark. She also built the whole protogen mask and such,
Yeah.
and it followed her voice too, and whatever
Yeah.
actually she was blinking and such. So I was pretty
The same
amazed
thing.
that you can
Yeah.
actually yeah.
Yeah, it follows your whole face
I mean,
movements. That's why you have to have
Mhm.
2 onboard computers, literally, for those
Mm.
things. And he's got fans in to keep the computers cool. And he's also got a shield you can actually watch the football game on. He actually made this thing and had all these diodes going up and down. Oh yeah, I mean, just it's a computer that runs that. And he's got this huge
God.
boom box in the back, in other words, with these wings of polycarb sheeting, and a huge battery back there. And he can actually has his own music band right there. I met him at AC one year. Oh no, actually, the first meeting it was years ago at Califer, and I was able to room with them because I was looking for a space, in other words. And they're all military,
Mm.
believe it or not,
Ah.
Marines. And this one guy had the
Ah.
green hat on and whatnot. He was Irish and he wanted to know who I was, and I told him who I was and whatnot. He's a year in, and Bixby at the time, I think I had a problem with one of the heads, and he didn't know I had all my equipment with me, soldering stations, the whole 9 yards we brought in. But we made a mini lab there right inside the room, doing repairs.
Nice.
Plus, I had to
Oh,
fix a
geez.
snarl on one of my suits. I had to take it apart, replace one of the strings. Strings things I use is called a spider web or Kevlar. It has to be really strong material because it's got to
Oh,
pull
Kevlar.
and it's going through eyelets.
yeah.
That's what it's like, a muscle fiber inside the heads that
Mhm.
makes
Oh,
the
that's
eyes and
cool.
everything else move. And I got a 9-tail. Actually, it was a 1-tail fox called the Ice Fox. We did it for a winery years ago. I built that in
Mhm.
97 or 87. I forgot what year it was. Anyway, everybody asked me where's the other 8 tails at. So I finally added 8 more tails to the suit. I had no idea that I had built a Japanese deity. Didn't know.
Yeah.
I just had blue diamond in the front of the forehead, the blue on the chest. It was all white and blue tip ears.
Mhm.
Kitsune.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
that's what they kept calling me.
9-tail fox.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I decided to put a motor drive on that thing and make all 8 tails come up like a peacock.
Oh,
Oh,
I kept breaking it,
cool.
and
Honey.
yeah, I was pushing the technology.
Honey.
It takes 6 cords per tail,
Yeah.
and each of those cords are 65 pounds.
Honey.
If I get a job, I will do it, okay?
You buy me one as well.
Just please be gentle with me. Please be gentle with me on price.
Is actually we talked about personas, and
Mhm.
right when you said 9-tailed fox, I was thinking, because I actually was thinking about a 3-tailed fox as
Actually
my
made a,
persona. I kind
3-tail for a buddy
so
of mine. Yeah, they didn't move though. They just 3 tails he wanted on there because most tails they got them spread
Yeah.
across the back. All 9
Hmm.
tails fit in with the 3-inch frame, and
Mhm.
it's a huge 2 straps inside the suit, a big strap around the belly, and everything's very flat. You can't even see the darn thing. Even the form-fitting suit, it's pretty well hid. And it's got to
Really?
hold like
That's
60
cool.
pounds worth of weight back there. And I got the battery pack in the front of the chest.
Mm.
In other words, right around my belly. That powers the tails.
Hmm.
It takes forever for them to go up because it's a real long motor
Yeah.
with the.
Mhm.
It's an 8 planetary gearbox, and the whole thing's no bigger than my pinky, about 6 inches long. It's got 700 pounds of torque. Yeah,
700
it needs a
pounds?
lot. Yeah,
That's
you need that much power. Yeah, to pull
Yeah.
all
That's
8
more
of
than
those
your
cords.
bike.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's true.
I swear to God. Okay, maybe just 1 tail would do. Maybe just 1 tail. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes a good body to
Yeah.
pull that off.
Yeah.
Pokey, with 700 pounds, you could swish your tail and kill someone. They're like,
or crush them all.
Sweetheart, I can even move with that amount. Okay, I'm a short, fluffy gal.
And don't forget Fluffy. But stop calling me Fluffy. What was that movie or cartoon? Anyway, all my tails, I use 2 drivers. One breaks, the second one they slip inside the tail. There's a hollow, and the strap goes on, battery pack goes on, and I use a shoelace to support it against the driver. That way it doesn't slide off.
Mhm.
One guy actually physically picked me up on my Blue Fox. You can see my tail hanging straight down, but not pulling away from fur. It's actually tight against my body. And one time I was at Midwest Fur Fest walking around with that tail, I had it up in the air. These 2 paramedics came up to me. He says, we're going to have to check how that tail's attached. As we talking about, it's a brace. Well, somebody told me that you had a, excuse the expression, a supporting butt plug. I says, lady, you know how uncomfortable that would be?
A supporting.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, no, it's on a brace. Well, we're going to have to check this out anyway. Right there in front of everybody. She ran her fingers underneath my tail base and she felt the, and told you it's a damn brace, in other words. But it was so flat they couldn't see it. I was, my
Oh
God.
my word.
Embarrassing. Luckily, I was in my suit. So. But they were paramedic and they legally, had to check you out, in other words. And they said, are you
They
overheating?
just
I
wanted
said,
to cough a feel.
But
Oh, yeah, then
still in front
Nasby,
of everybody. What are they
Well,
gonna
Yeah,
come on,
do?
man.
that is
Yank
kind
it?
of.
They just
It
wanted
was
to check
unreal.
you out.
I want to check you out.
Yeah.
Then they asked me, are you staying hydrated? And I had this bottle, the bottle was full of booze. In other words, I'm staying hydrated. Let me check your bottle. Well, this is vodka. Yeah, why not? I'm staying hydrated.
I have some
It's a liquid.
I have some
Kind of
form of hydration.
Hydrated, dehydrated. huh?
What's the difference?
Hydrated,
well-
lubricated.
I know one time, I think my dinner was snacks, booze. That wasn't a good idea. Boy, the next day I paid for it. For these furry conventions, you go to them, it's 4 days of fursuiting, party, drunkenness. I mean, and dancing. All 4 days, plus
Mhm.
panels, whatnot. The panels are good. You can learn a lot from these panels. I held a few panels on animatronics, and a lot of them went over their heads. And I even had teenagers show up. They're not even furries, for God's sakes. They come to my panels because they want to, because they're into
Mhm.
robotics, and that's also what I do. I actually help a guy build his robot of death. In other words, they entered these things in these arenas, and they had
Yeah,
a soul blade
yes.
and whatnot.
I've seen
Hammers that
those.
come down with
Mhm.
spikes.
Yeah.
Battle
Mhm.
bots.
Put
Yeah,
the
battle
battery
bots.
dead center. Yeah. You want to save that battery because that's the main power. And we made it autonomous. They go around without the remote and seek anything and start
that's
killing
cool.
it. And stab them to
Jesus.
death.
Basically,
Blow up one.
he basically made a death Roomba. He made a death
Yeah,
Roomba.
Death Roomba.
Yeah, death
We're that much closer to Terminator.
The Terminator robot.
Yes.
Send it loose in the city.
Or what's
Nothing can stop it. The technology could be very dangerous in the wrong hands.
yeah.
I know I was a devil when I
That's
was
true.
in school. In other words, I used to make all kinds of. Me and this one guy called Bernard, we put our heads together and conquer the world. Boy Scouts one time, we found this great big pipe. We capped it off. It went in, and I went in the girls' deal and got all the hairspray. They bring hairspray at a jamboree. I couldn't believe it. Well, hairspray is very
Yeah.
volatile. And a buddy of mine gathered up these melons. We put the towel on the end of the pipe, put the melon in,
Oh god.
and but I would
know.
put
Oh,
the spray in there,
no.
lit it, big old blue flame would shoot out of the hole. Incoming, launching watermelons in the air. Splat! They look like
Melon
strawberries when they hit the ground.
Jesus.
I mean, it's just hilarious as heck. Watermelons.
Watermelon cannon.
Watermelon
Watermelon.
balloon. Poof!
Balloon.
It's like a motor going off. Poof! That was back in the 60s, I think. That was fun times. Nowadays, they just throw you in jail for being, I guess, a terrorist or something like that. We're just doing kid stuff, for God's sakes.
Can't
Fun
have
stuff.
any fun anymore.
Man.
Yeah.
What got me in the robotics in the first place was I see it on TV how the faces move like the characters from the Ninja Turtles, this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then I
the
found out they had
animatronics and things.
they had steel cables in the back of his head, and they would take the face off because they would stop
Mhm.
every once. You ever seen how TV shows you count to 5 seconds, the
Yeah,
scene would
yeah.
change 5 seconds,
Mhm.
so that gives them time to switch heads, whatnot. And I thought those things for real. You know, if they can do it, now why can't I?
Mhm.
So I did.
Oh, that's
It's
actually
a
a
little
good
experiment.
attitude.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's
If they
Mhm.
can do it, I
that's how
can
you
do it.
learn. In other words, and just if they can do
Exactly.
it. One guy had an animatronic fursuit head he was displaying, but the thing is, you couldn't put it on. All the motors were
Really?
inside the head. I mean, there's no
Ah.
room. But my head did the same thing his head did, but I was able to put my head on. And that kind of drove
Hmm.
nuts. How I was able to shrink those drivers down from this size to itsy bitsy size.
Mhm.
Pocket watch, basically. As it's
Mhm.
easy.
Mhm.
Get an old VCR, use the worm out of it, get a Maxim motor that costs you $400 a piece, and there you are. It's-
Oh, yeah.
drove him nuts, in other words. But no,
So your first suit making, like, you said, like a price for it, or is it as it go along, kind of? If
as
they
I go
want
along,
to add
because
more.
yeah, some animatronics are harder than others. I had a lady evaluate my head one time at AC. I had to leave the head with her, and she was saying this head is $500. The guy had paid $1,500 for it. This head is like $2,000, and he paid $500 for it. She evaluates what price of head, especially the clockwork heads. They're between $7,000 on up to $20,000 for clockwork head, but
Oh.
they're really, really realistic. They take their time with
Yeah.
those heads. Plus, they have to fit
major
your
fan
head
crush
perfectly.
on Clockworks.
Mhm.
Hmm.
She evaluated my head at $35,000 plus. Yeah. It took her a while.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, honey, you might
Pain
need
of
more than
pets.
one job. You might need more than one job.
Honey,
We
Yeah,
might
especially if you're gonna get
all
me.
chip in on that one.
honey, his price range for that kind of stuff is basically paying off my hoopty wagon.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The Disney head, like the Winnie the Pooh, all it does is blink and the eyes move back and forth. And it's about so big. Guess how much that head
Mhm.
costs? It's no joke.
Uh,
$70,000.
I wouldn't know where to start.
We're talking Disney now.
what?
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything to do with Disney? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Disney.
Very expensive.
It's
Mhm.
the name. It's the
Yeah.
name.
It's
Yeah.
the name.
Hmm.
So they're one of a kind. If they can mass produce these heads, they can bring down the price to about 2, 3, 5 grand, basically. But
Mhm.
they're made once. It's like my heads, each one of my heads are slightly different, and some parts are interchangeable, but not always. Because on some of the
Mhm.
suits are big eyes, little eyes, and depends on the driver. Can only open so far, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, or 1.25 inches. There's
Yeah.
settings on those drivers. That way, if I put the driver in one into the other, the eyes will open halfway. In other words, instead of all the way. Especially the Fennec,
So it's
got
customized.
big
So it's
eyes.
basically customized to each head.
customized.
So you
to
have it
each
set
head,
to
yeah.
one precise settings
Yeah.
to another.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I
Now
get
the
it.
tail now,
Oh,
I got 2 different tails. One's a short, and one's a long. Short one I use for Tabaki and my border collie. I can curl the tail up. But the fox is longer.
Mm.
So it brings up the tail so I don't go drag it on the ground. Then I can
Mhm.
bring it all the
Yeah.
way up. It looks like a squirrel tail by the time I get done there.
Nice.
Yeah, one lady thought I had 2 different suits. She saw me
Mhm.
walk down the hallway with the tail down, and she watched me come across that same hallway later on that day with the tail up in the air. So, you got 2 suits? I said, no. So I hit the button. She saw the tail go down. Wow! I said, I gotta have that. And she was a fursuit maker. And the first time she
That
didn't see
is
anything like
cool.
that before. First time I met the telephone ring. I actually, by mistake, I called her telephone ding ding. I had to apologize for that. I met her at Megaplex. I think it's Megaplex. And she comes up to me without the head on. She's a short chick, but she has these, what they call angel dragon suits with a blank stare. And she has that little whistler.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
talks with the, I don't know how they do that.
Hmm.
But she says,
She
where
was
do you get
actually my
that
first
form-fitting
fursuit
suit
crush.
at? Oh, yeah. I said, well, I built it, ma'am. And do you know me? No, I didn't. First time I met telephone ring, in other words. And then she's actually a poppy fur. She's actually a really cool person.
Mhm.
And she holds panels and whatnot. But the angel dragons, I can't stand those blank expressions. I've had to see eyes.
Hold up.
She does make
Hold
pretty
up.
good suits, though.
I'm gonna disappear for a minute. Pop this out.
Not that blank
Derpy eyes.
expression, but that is angel
Derpy
dragons.
eyes.
They look pretty cool on that one. So it's when they were just plain white,
Yeah,
this,
the eyes
yeah.
they are a bit
Yeah.
slow. Sometimes he just has
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I
They're
mean,
working
he
pretty
wanted
good,
derpy, so we had to make him
Yeah.
slow.
I forgot to mention the avatar I'm in right now is complimentary by Captain Wren, and he's still doing some modifications to it, but he did the fur, the whole 9 yards. It looks like my Blue Fox suit, so I couldn't thank him enough for this avatar. Some people are complaining
Aw.
about the pixels, or I forget what they call polygons. I say, it looks good to me. I don't
Polygon,
care
yeah.
about the polygons. Makes the mouth moves great, so the eyes don't move, but the ears don't.
That looks good to me.
But, yeah.
I think Ion is complaining right now, like silently to
Mhm.
Ren.
Uh-oh. Why?
Because yeah,
Why? Why?
Ren made this avatar too,
Huh?
but the
Uh-huh.
eyes are like rolling around in the skull.
Mhm.
little bit.
And
In the skull.
yeah, so
Gives that
he
real-
turns out with black, totally black eyes.
Oh, he
I
looks
see they've sunken in a little
cute.
bit.
Well, it's part
Looks
of the
cute.
depth change letter because most time the eyes, you have that.
Yeah.
Mhm,
No, no,
mhm, mhm.
just no. Okay,
Just no.
just no,
Just no.
just no.
I thought I had ideas, but I don't.
And my little gray spot here.
Mm-hmm.
That's chest
little
hair.
fluff
Yeah.
there.
That's your little bit of
Just
floof. You have
chest
to have a little bit of
That's
floof.
your
Mhm.
floof. Just a
Floofies.
floof, 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 floof.
I gotta have my
Floofies.
floof. My
You gotta have the
floof.
floof. My
Mhm.
floof. Floof.
Yes.
Now, some of these avatars, I hear people paying up to $400 for them. And they ask me how much did Ren charge you for this one. In other words, well, they're complaining about the polygons and whatnot. Hey, this one's for free. That's me can complain. They spent
Exactly.
$400. One
I've
guy's
seen
got
some.
a,
In fact, I was
yeah.
talking to a person yesterday that paid $3,500 for his custom mesh.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. No joke.
wow.
But it was
And
it was
that's
a
like
knockout.
me.
Insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's like me. In the past, what, month and a half, I've spent around $130 on 3 separate
Mhm.
avatars, and they're all still being created right now.
It's the hours
mean-
and hours and hours on that computer putting this stuff together, and they have
Mhm.
to
Custom
memorize
made.
it. They have to keep it in memory, and then you have to have a block on it. That way, nobody copies those avatars.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know one guy has
It's
got a fox dragon and really cute, the whole 9 yards, and he paid I forgot what $100 some odd for that one. I have a video of him at the spin around world. And we're on these spinners, and he's got the wings and whatnot. His eyes would go like this because on the spinners it does that. And it's hold still,
Yeah.
and it was really cute. I actually posted on not you. I should post it on YouTube, but they got the music, and that's the only thing I'm worried about. But I do post it on the VR chat site on Telegram,
Ah.
and they got all kinds of VR chat sites, lewd VR chats, not safe for work VR chats, safe for work VR chats. The not safe for work VR chats. I posted some of the stuff that I did on what was that? Foxhole Pleasures.
Oh dear.
The
Oh,
afterwards.
Oh dear. But like I did also the video on the it was a store bought land, in other words, and the rides and well, you've been there a few times. It was very it's only like 30 megapixels, I guess, but it was really done up well. And
Very
I guess I take my
optimized.
I take the Oculus off and I stick my camera inside there, and I actually videotape these rides. It's pretty neat.
Oh.
Yeah,
Hey, if it works, it
I
works.
can't figure out how to
Mhm.
use the so I just stick my camera inside the Oculus. Hey, it does
Mhm.
the same job. I took
Exactly.
snapshots of you with the I forgot the name of her.
Oh, Jade.
parrot,
Yeah.
word.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The parrot of
Oh,
volley.
the Avali.
the
Mhm.
volley
It came
parrot.
out so
Yeah.
good.
And
Came
yeah,
out
I
so
just
good.
stuck my camera in. I told him hold still. Took several shots and I sent them to you on your Discord.
Mhm.
Yeah, came out great. I wouldn't dare use the camera on the Oculus because it's tied with that Facebook deal. And
Yeah.
never. Those
Yeah,
Facebook,
you
they
can't pull 'em off
hope they
properly, can
burn
you?
in hell. Those people,
Mm-mm.
for what they
This
did.
is true.
Plus, I got them in
So,
trouble.
oh really?
Yeah, that was part of a lawsuit because I
yeah.
sent a very private picture to a friend of mine. It was a cub photo. I was in my ice fox suit with the accoutrements, like dressed up like a baby. In other words, it was just for photo take. That was it. And
Mhm.
used my camera because they didn't have a camera in there. So I sent the picture to him. My eyes were closed, my thumb was in my mouth, and all this stuff. Well, it got viral all over the world. That's all. Yeah. And his two of his
Oh,
friends
boy.
were in the corner there. Oh man, that was not good. And he couldn't blame me for it. But
Yeah.
at the
No.
time there was no telegram to send him the photo. I should have emailed him the picture instead. And some lady sent a
Yeah.
picture of her bubble butt, in other words, to her boyfriend. And she's like 19 years old, but the way the picture looked like he was 16. She looked young for her age.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
She was on the news, and then he had her on 60 Minutes, and she was just frothing mad. Then Facebook asked me for my driver's license and social number, because apparently all their friends, and I says, no, you're not getting this. So I took a snapshot of the screen, and I sent it to the FCC. Apparently they had an ongoing investigation with Facebook. It was like 8-9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They had to pay
I
a
actually remember
huge
that.
fine.
Mm.
I mean, it was ginormous. I was
I
part
think
of the
the last
lawsuit, but I didn't
one-
get any money out of the deal, but the other guy did, because that was a private, very private picture. I mean, embarrassed
Mm-hmm.
everybody. I mean, never again with Facebook.
Yeah, that's also one thing I hate about when you take pictures or video with
Yeah.
your Oculus. Some pictures I just send through Messenger
Yeah.
because it's
Mhm.
easy. It's you can you can delete it afterwards. You can do that too on Facebook, but yeah, like you said, it lingers around.
Yeah.
They
And
might
Facebook doesn't
save
erase
a
nothing.
lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you try to erase them off the
exactly.
Facebook account, they're still there. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
there it goes to more people than who you just send it to.
yes, I mean, they're private photos, and Facebook should never do that. And that's why I use Telegram a lot. Telegram is very safe. They have a huge algorithm, and even the CIA can't get into Telegram. That's what makes it good. There's another one called Jitsi. It's also a very huge algorithm. You can't have anything you can't have anything background running on your computer, but it takes up that much algorithm. I use that one
Oh my
when I
word.
talk to the labs and very technical stuff.
Mhm.
And also
Yeah.
Skype as well. I use. So sometimes I use 2 computers and have 2 cameras on the machine. I was at a con one time, and the blood gas machine went down in the lab, and I had one camera there with the meter, and I says, okay, check pins A to Z, in other words. Let me see the voltage. One was like 3 volts. It's supposed to be 5 volts. I says, there's your problem. I says, replace the power supply pack. That's it. We're talking about what was it? $3.8 million machine.
Oh, geez.
Dang.
Blood gas. Oh, yes, about the size of a
But-
small table.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
use for
isn't
this.
Skype also connected to Facebook?
no,
No, it
Instagram is.
It's just
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
Skype's
yeah,
Microsoft.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
My Instagram got hacked, and I yet having to figure it out. There's some ladies on there says you want to have a good time, whatnot, but it says Mountain Blue Fox Joe on the Instagram.
Oh,
Oh,
And they're trying to get into
no.
it, delete it. Yeah. So the Instagram has been hacked, and that's as far as they went. They couldn't go any farther because I use different codes.
Yeah.
I use atomic
Oh, that's
codes.
crazy. Mhm.
Yeah. So now I have to have a friend to give me a hand how, because I'm not a computer. When it comes to computer, I'm lousy with computers.
Mhm.
I can't even spell my name on these damn things, but I sure know how to fix them. Most of my stuff is analog, Stone Age. Even my truck, I have a brand new engine in it. It's a Vortec. Came with a computer and everything else. Computerized carburetor, computerized this. Guess what happened to that? Into the garbage. Standard carburetor. Then I had to put buttons and whatnot
Nice.
to control the rest of it. So I am the computer. I got flip switches if I want more power. If I want to advance it, I pull on this one knob, in other words, it advances the distributor. It's all mechanical.
Mhm.
All mechanics. Only thing that's solid state is the ignition. That's it. But it's bulletproof though, because I built it myself. I mean,
Mhm.
same thing with my transmissions. I tore my transmission apart, found it was wrong with it, and all the clutches were burnt. A buddy of mine gave me a transmission. I installed it, found out I had a leaky seal on it, and all the oil blew out. Oh, I was pissed. So my truck stopped halfway down Primrose. I had to push it all the way. Luckily, it was flat. And everybody saw me pushing the truck. Well, I was that mad. I mean, that was oh boy, I was boiling. Ripped
You
that
just
thing
went
out.
Hulk and like
Oh, literally.
Soon as I get
Took
you
that thing
home.
apart. Yeah. Burned out the pump. It was a free transmission, but all the stuff inside was brand new. Plus,
Yeah.
somebody put a
Mm.
shift kit in there, was lousy. I had to take that out. It was
Mhm.
garbage. It was B&M shift kits. If you don't know what you're doing, you can burn the transmission up. And they did fry one of the clutch plates, but the rest of the clutch plates are brand new. So that went into my transmission.
Mhm.
But it cost me $0 for parts. And now my transmission's fixed. Works great. They want like $5,000 for those
Nice.
damn things to install. Yeah, especially an old
Yeah.
pickup. The 73 step side my old man bought, and I've been keeping it going ever since. 3 engines, 3 transmissions now, 2 rear ends. No, 3 rear ends. Excuse me. Electrical system's fine. It's
Mhm.
all stock. Now everybody wants
That's
the darn
actually
thing.
cool.
I was offered
The step
$20,000
sides
for
are
that piece of junk. If I keep away the
Oh,
body
step
rushes,
sides. Mhm.
they're getting rare because most of them are rotted. The metal fatigues. Here I keep this thing up,
Mhm.
re-weld, whatnot. I got a 60 T-Bird at the house I still use until I blew one of the wheels off. It's got a lot
Oh
of power.
no.
Yeah, Glenn had to come and get me, and we had to replace the wheel, and it just tore off the lugs. Too much horsepower. It's got a
Hot
390
rod,
power
Joe.
plant, 12 point something to 1 ratio. Runs on alcohol or gas, but it's got a vaporizer carburetor, so I get about 20 miles a gallon out of that beast.
So why am
No,
I
mechanical.
imagining Crazy Joe in his fursuit down in California drift racing with all the other rashers?
Yeah, there've been a couple
That
of
Yeah.
sounds
racing cars a
awesome.
couple times.
I'd love to watch that,
Yeah.
especially
too,
the snarling
actually.
one as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just passing by all the cars.
Well, I did that one time, and it's called a captain's coupe. We were at a car show, and Channel 2 News was there with the big cameras and whatnot. Where me
Mhm.
and Glenn were in the captain's coupe, 1928 Model A, I think.
Mhm.
And here comes the camera driving up slowly. Just stuck my head out the window. I was in my red fox suit. Guy comes
Mhm.
with the camera, starts asking questions. I drop my ears. I go, grrr. He backs off. Oh, we got a guard fox here. It's hilarious.
Oh
Guard
dear.
fox.
Imagine him doing that to a police officer. I'm sorry.
Well,
and
that'd
it
be
just.
ace.
I'm sorry, officer. I didn't mean to snarl at you, but I did
Bad
one
fox, bad,
time.
bad.
Cop was nasty.
What?
Trying to confiscate my tractor up in Campfire Tales. It's no joke. 6 squad cars showed up. They thought we were the Rainbow people. Here we had a rented campground. And he says, you're driving this tractor illegally up this road. I says, well, where is it posted at? He's going to confiscate my machine. So I put my head back on and got on my machine. I says, now you're going to have to kill me. Oh, yeah, right in front of all these campers. I was deadly serious. He was not going to confiscate my tractor.
Mhm.
I actually posted a YouTube video of me on my red fox suit driving around in it. It's a homemade machine. I
Really?
built it back in the late 70s. And
Mhm.
we use it for mining.
Oh,
And hauls all kinds of stuff. It's got a pump, it's got a cable, 300 feet of aircraft cable. We pulled some mining equipment out of the bottom of the canyon with that thing. Also rescued a couple of motorbikes out of the bottom
No
of the canyon.
oh,
And you
Oh,
built
yeah.
this yourself?
jeez.
Yeah. It's a small machine. Looks like a kid's toy, but it ain't. You sit in a reclined position, and you got rigor steering. And all 3 wheels are driven on it. There's a front wheel drive on that thing.
Mhm.
Don't have bell bottom pant leg. It'll get caught in the shaft because it's spinning right next to your foot.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got
Yeah.
brakes. You need brakes and gears. Thing broke down. I mean, I think the spur gear broke. I had to take a winch, push it around, and I had to coast it back down inside and then I had to push it inside the mine tunnel. So now I got to bring parts up next week or so to fix it. I mean, these parts are all handmade. There's
Mhm.
nothing store bought. I mean, about this machine. Uses the Tecumseh
That's
10
cool.
horse engine and runs on
Mhm.
alcohol. You have to. If you're running inside, you don't want no. Yeah.
Runs on alcohol,
I'm
just like the
actually
driver.
curious. When you could do all this mechanics and such,
Yeah.
could you help out VR chat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might need
That'd be
some
good.
help. A
Yeah.
little bit of optimization here and there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Actually, a buddy of mine, Pavling, I work with him at the lab. He's very good. in computers. He's also an ex-KGB agent. It's kind of funny.
Oh God.
It's kind of funny. I went to the Midwest Fur Fest about 5 years back, and I saw these black limos out there. I kept hearing da knit, and I say, I know a buddy. I work with a buddy of mine, and he speaks the same lingo. In other words, I say he's an ex-KGB agent. He says, "Comrade, we're all ex-KGB agents." They've got
Okay,
me
it's
into
like a
the.
secret organization you're running there. Should we be worried?
dear.
Anyway, they
Guys, our
invite
little
me
show
into
gets
the
monitored
limo.
by the KGB.
They're actually cool guys. They gave me a big glass of Elite, very expensive vodka, and it's when they pulled it out of the ice chest. This stuff is cryogenically cold. And they gave me a long straw, and I was in my silver fox suit, and I was taking sips of this stuff that was very delicious. But man, it bit my ass. We were singing Russian songs, and I was so drunk. I was plastered, potted, pickled, planted, baked.
Oh, good.
It was good.
I can imagine.
And smashed. Oh, I was staggering. That was that Wednesday. I decided to get into my fursuit. And I was just staggering around the room there that evening. So they had to take off, in other words. And man, that was good stuff. Elite. It has a serial number. They actually laser print on each bottle. It has an aluminum cap on it. The bottle this tall, it's about $100 for that bottle. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Very good stuff.
Cool.
Another good drink is called
Dang.
Violet. It's from the Netherlands. And it's made of the plant. The flower's violet. It's like $40 for that bottle, but it's like drinking a raspberry pie. You just want to take a half shot of that and just take an hour to enjoy this stuff. I mean, you don't want to. It's that good. But heck,
That's
they're still cooking in
awesome.
there. But man, buddy of mine, he has the room for Tuesday to Tuesday at AC. Bush Rat, and he's the one that I told him about. Well, he's the one that told me about the Elite, other words, and then that's when I recognized Elite because he buys a small bottle, and it's about like $40-50 for that small bottle.
Yeah.
And he just takes a half shot every evening. It's good. And I went to Beef Mo, and Pavlin gave me a note to give the Beef Mo in Santa Rosa. And it's written in Russian. So I hand the letter to this guy and her the note. He goes, "Doc," and he opens up this glass door. There's only 2 bottles sitting behind this glass door. And you only take 1 bottle. That's it. You leave the other bottle for whoever. That's, being a gentleman. And I got that bottle for $50, not $100. Yeah.
Cool.
I brought that to the con with me. And I got Violet and 2 other things. That would have been $200 worth of booze for like $75. That's not bad.
Nice.
Very good.
So you
Excellent.
attend quite a lot of cons and stuff too, don't you?
Couldn't. Got
Quite a lot
Fur
of
cons.
yeah.
I
You
got that
attend quite a
background.
lot of fur cons and stuff, don't you?
Oh God, yeah. I got talked into them. What happened was my first fur con was I started out signing in for 2010. It was FC Further Confusion in San Jose. It was the beginning of 2011, and I decided to go as a volunteer. And get the insights. I had that CSI fur and loitering on the back of my mind. Are these people like that? And found out they're all crazy as I am, and that's when I first introduced the Blue Fox. I only brought 1 suit with me, and that was the Blue Fox. But that thing was fully armed, though. It had the chomps on it, had a hydraulic system, whatnot. And just in case things got out of hand, I could defend myself. And because what happens, it all started back in the 2000s when that movie came out. People were calling me names. In other words, you're nothing but a furry freak. We didn't know what furry meant. And I was on my Silver Fox one time, just little mouthy kid came up. Well, Larry being Larry, I was doing with a biker toy drive fur deals, and we're setting up chicken and whatnot. It was a biker toy drive. We do this every year, and Nick does it, and I just had to do it in my fox suit. I know one guy says, I got a dog bigger than you. He opened back into his van. Here's this huge, ginormous dog. Holy cow. It was bigger than me, all right.
Dang.
Oh dear.
One guy says, if that chicken ain't done, we're going to barbecue fox. He says, oh, no, it'll get done real quick. So I was serving all this food. And if there was an argument inside the bar, I would grab some food and I'd go inside the bar with us. And it's like, you get a bunch of arguing women, and you throw a puppy in the equation. They go, oh, the argument stops. So I show up there with a big plate of food. The argument stops. I mean, it works every time. It works. I mean, I swear.
It works.
At least the knives
you
and guns
can't
didn't come out.
Deny the power of the floof.
Of the floof. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
So technically, you were fursuiting and doing the stuff even
many
before
years.
you even found out about the fandom, weren't you?
Yeah.
Now, AC, no, not AC, but FC was my first and last con I was going to go to. It's no joke. I only do things once like that. Then I met Fox Furry, and on the computer, he says he wanted to do Cali Fur. Didn't know what that was. It's in Los Angeles, so I knew some people in Los Angeles. So I decided to kill two birds with one stone. And I rode shotgun with him because his girlfriend didn't want to do the con, but he wanted somebody to give him a hand with the suit, whatnot. He gave me a hand with my suit. And then he says, do you want to do rainforest? I said, okay. That's way up in Seattle. So I visited a few friends there and didn't visit my brother because he can, as far as I'm concerned, take a flying leap off a very tall building. But I went there, and everybody started recognizing me. And I think there's like the third con, and it started to explode, in other words, because apparently animatronic fursuits are very extremely rare and takes a lot of notice. And everybody talked me into FA. They talked me into not Facebook, though that came later. They talked me into YouTube. Didn't know what YouTube was. It's like a recipe. It took my neighbor's 10-year-old to show me how to put things on YouTube. I mean, it's like a recipe. You got to follow it just right.
Yeah.
And oh, they got the band going there. I'm gonna have to close that door because it's.
When real life world interferes with the virtual one.
Yes.
Yes.
There it goes. Oop. There goes my body. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
They're playing the band.
Good.
I think you probably can hear the music.
A little bit, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. You can't always separate the real world with the virtual one. That's just how it is. So yeah.
It adds flavor.
Exactly.
It does. It does.
Yeah, his name is Vox Fox. He goes by Minstrel Bill on the Oculus. See, he's the one that introduced me to the Oculus in the first place several months ago. And
Yes,
I didn't know what it was. Yeah. So when I put the goggles on, I go, wow. And I was in this kind of a chubby looking fox, in other words, with nice thighs and the whole 9 yards. And I look in the mirror and I didn't know how to operate the mirror. You gotta hit this button, hit that button. And I'm in front of this mirror going, wow, this is so real. I'm just going nuts. I mean, I'm going like this, like this. It's wow. So I'm turning around like this. I'm looking at myself. It's wow. I'm a real thing. It's just like you can just touch it. And a couple of weeks later, he actually bought me this set. And it's like $300 for this darn thing. The reason why, I did a septic system for him. And they had literally get a backhoe out there, dig down, about 6-7 feet. The pipe was ruptured underneath the road. In other words, it would be about $10,000 for the job. And he has two friends out there digging down. They only went about 2-3 feet. I told Vox, let's go get a demo hammer. And we rented a demo hammer, and you bring back the blade, and it's hauling bucket after bucket. So I got the two buddies down there, Peaches and Fuse, and they can only do like one bucket. You guys are a bunch of pussies. I'm down there several hours of handing one bucket out at a time because Vox had to pull the muck out. I finally got down to the pipe. Then you got to dig down another foot because you had to take all that stuff out. And I had to make sure I had to do it on a time where nobody's flushing a toilet, I swear. Getting a little messy. But they had to pay for 3 inspections. County, city, and government, I guess. And my cousin's kid worked for Gelati, so we went to Pace Plumbing. We got all the parts for it, but through Gelati. And he wrote a check out for the parts because it has to be a certain type of underground pipe for sewage. It's green color, but it's ABS. It was really strong. And it had to be so it joined into the terracotta. That's the city side, but it was broken. Tree roots got into it and snapped it. So I had to get down on my belly with a grinder and literally flatten it. Twice I had to do that because the pipe didn't go in there. It had a gap. So then they send the camera down there. They check it out. They inspect it. Came out perfect. Then the final inspection, they had to make sure you had to put gravel underneath all the way around the pipe. Then I ran a clean out. Now he's got to clean out for his motorhome or his camper shell. Because before he had to bucket the stuff in the house, but now made it a lot easier. But they wanted like $10,000 for that job. It only took about a couple of days. Very expensive for jobs like that. You had to bring out a backhoe. You got to dig down. Then I told him once you refill the ground, I says you have to wet it and let it sit for a while because you didn't want to get it tampered. The ground will start settling. And sure enough, I said, he wants to throw the rest of the dirt away. No, that dirt's got to go back in that hole. It took about a yard of rock, though, has to go down there. But I was digging, you can smell the sulfur in the soil because it's volcanic in that area. Because alum rock, there's a park there, and it's all volcanic. You can smell the sulfur. They used to mine the alum there, and they use alum for cooking and all kinds of products. You've ever tasted alum before? It's like taking a bitter lemon and just makes your mouth pucker like crazy.
Oh God, yeah, alum does. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they mine the alum anymore. Yeah.
So you're fairly new to the VR realm.
Yeah.
How's your experience been so far, and where do you, on your own personal view, where do you see VR going from here?
Great things. Great things. It's like the holodeck on the Star Trek. In other words, can you imagine a holodeck with things really real? I mean, my God! Right now, this is about as close to being into the holodeck as possible. Every time I look at myself, wow, this is so crazy. I mean, every time I stare at myself, I'm a fox with fluff. And
as long as you can give them a shove in the right direction, say, hey, you might upgrade a little bit of the servers because it's a bit laggy. I mean,
Well, the buffers got turned on this thing here. A friend of mine, Pavling, did that. He turned all the buffers on the aux. He's plugged in his computer and just boom. Thing is, I have to have a battery pack and a charger sitting in my pocket right now. It's getting a little hot because it'll go through a battery within a half an hour instead of normal 2-3 hours. Plus, I had to boost the fans inside here, but they're whisper, so you can't you don't hear that noise. I did a few tricks to it. I'm planning on dumping some more memory in this. I know how to do things like that, but programming it, I know how to build things.
He's basically me. I tinker with so much shit. I just don't know how to do the actual full digital side of it. It's like this shit.
Oh no, honey, you don't fiddle with it. You Frankenstein the shit out of it.
Sounds like me. Igor.
I'll
Start
have
the
to tell you one
generators.
on Joe here.
Uh-huh.
So I actually met Joe when he actually about the time he first started diving into VR chat.
Yeah.
And I was kind of helping him around some of the world stuff like that, And
Oh,
I
yeah.
told him specifically there's a few rules kind of want to stay away from, especially at least right now. And
Yeah.
one of them is don't go to the Jespy Club. What's the first place he hits?
Yeah,
Just be club.
just be
Just be
club. It's pretty cool there. You got this chick standing there with these big balloons, Mamma mia, And this one guy was throwing things at her, and she'd knock down the ground. What? You're hurting her. And I thought it was a person inside that thing, or like us, in other words, but it wasn't. It was actually part of the program. And another buddy of mine,
PC.
BC.
I'm trying to think of his name, Bangeller, and he took me to this one world. It was called the Winter Foxhole, and he says, "Turn on the mirror, pick up that cookie." So I picked up the cookie off this table, and I saw one of the avatars sitting there looking at this cookie. I didn't see a name on top of her head. Remember the cookie chaser? And so I grabbed this cookie and went to the mirror. All of a sudden, whoa! This thing scared the hell out of me right there. Every time I moved the cookie, she was right there. It was Best Boy, dressed up like a fox with the fox eyes, green eyes. I'm sitting there looking at it like this. This is so real looking. Then I had other people come in. They had these things you grab and you hear pop, 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 and it sends these like fireworks in the air. And this is so real. I was going pop, 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 pop. Then you got these sparklers, hit the button. Shh. Man, that was just too much. Then Vox found this one place. It was called Store-Bought Land. It was like an amusement park. And I almost lost my stomach. I mean, you're right. You're on the arc. It seems so real. I mean, there went my stomach. Let's go back. I get my stomach and lift it back.
Yeah. Fact, if you have motion sickness, don't fly or ride anything in here because it's just getting worse.
I didn't care. I had fun. I had a puke bucket next to me. Blah, let's go. Blah, continue. I had a bag right there. Blah. My name is Ralph. I think his name is Ralph or Hurt. But that was great. They changed the land now. They got this wicker wolf ride, and it's like an old roller coaster with wood. You get on that thing. I actually stuck my video camera in there and I actually got a video of the whole thing. It was great. Then another friend brought me to this. It's called Putt Putt Land. I said, "What's Putt Putt?" I thought you were a motorboat. No, it's easy to do a little golf.
That's a great world, actually.
Actually, the physics is really good because if you do like regular putting a ball, in other words, the physics is there. And Drax was getting pissed off about this is a stupid game. I can't get this thing. I said, well, it's the physics. It's identical. If you ever played golf before. So I went through all 19 holes, in other words. The music in the background drives you nuts. But
don't play that. I
you
mean,
have
it's
to,
fun when you hit the ball too hard and it just yeets everywhere. But when you do that like 20 times in a row, just no.
Or you're playing with a group and you have the one friend that's still stuck on hole number 3 and you're waiting for them and they're still stuck back there. 2 hours later, they're trying to get it in the hole. It's like, here, just let me pick it up and put it in the hole for you.
Yeah, we did. I'm doing it for him. Here, let me fix it for you. Each one had a different color ball. Mine was blue, obviously, and I was in this suit here. And 4. I don't have to yell out 4, I guess, because of. Oh no, I'm in VR chat. We're right in the middle of the deal here. Yeah, it's all lies and conjecture with a whole lot of embellishing. I love that part. Some lady wants to write a book about me. I said, "You want to write a book about me?"
Oh.
I said, it'd be totally fictional, ma'am. I says, it's the way my life is. They wouldn't believe it if they saw the truth staring at them. You did what? It's like my mom's doctor one time. She said what happened was I hurt my knee, so I fixed it myself. It was getting swollen.
Mhm.
So I had a horse needle we use on sheep, whatnot. So I actually took the water out of my own knee. I had no other choice. If
Oh,
you didn't, it would go into infection. And
Yeah.
my mom told the doctor that, and the doctor says, he did what? Had no
it
choice.
worked though. It
Yeah,
worked
I'm in
though.
the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you get injured out in the middle of nowhere, you got to fix yourself up. You know?
Exactly.
True.
You can't just call for help. You
Exactly.
gotta self-rescue.
One time I slid down a canyon up in the high Sierras, just brushed myself off. The soft part was hitting all that magnesia on the way down. But those hard
Oh,
rocks, you know, ooch,
no.
ouch, ooch, ooch, ouch, ouch, ooch.
Oh.
It was funny.
Oh
But-
no.
Nothing.
It was fun.
It was fun. Went back up there again.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, now
It
I
was
kind of
about as
see
fun
where
as
we got
having a
the
bad case of the runs.
Crazy Joe from.
Yeah, exactly.
definitely.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
Yeah, stuck ever since.
Should be
Yeah.
Crazy Awesome Joe.
oh yeah,
Oh,
true,
that's what
true.
Glenn's dad calls me Awesome Joe. He hates that name, Crazy. Calls me Awesome. He
No.
was a bombardier pilot during the war over Europe, and they flew a lot of missions. And he came back, told me some stories like you wouldn't believe. On the B-17s, they'll get you
God, yeah.
back, but not always alive. They call it a Widowmaker. But
Mhm.
that was a tough
Yeah.
job. Those planes were built for one thing: war, and
Mhm.
they were
Mm.
tough. There was no hydraulics. If the hydraulics would fail, you had the steel cables. Sometimes they had to put their feet on the dash and pull back with all their might.
Oh, God,
Sometimes
yeah.
they'll come back with one engine. Those engines were like
Dang.
1,500 horse or something like that. They're just incredible horsepower. They had this one
Mm.
plane. It was called the Wildcat, and Japanese were beating the hell out of it. Then they came out with the Hellcat, and this thing was just incredible horsepower. The Japanese would go flying straight in the air like this, and then come down, and the Wildcat would just try to chase them, would fall back. And that's how they get nailed. But the Hellcat straight up. And one time, Bloody
Dang.
told me that they were playing chicken. The Zero was playing chicken with the Hellcat, and you don't do that. And it was head on, and he sliced the wing off this Japanese plane. All it did was put a little dent on the Hellcat. Came back with just a slight dent. But it just took the plane right out of the air.
My word.
The Japanese Zeros
Japanese
are fast.
katana might
Buddy
be
of mine
strong,
has
but
one.
their planes aren't.
Yeah. No, they're actually fast planes. Those Japanese Zeros. They're quick.
Yeah.
I've been in one
Yeah.
at the Philadelphia Airport years ago, and they'll set you back in the seat. But
Mm.
the reason why they didn't win the war because of technology. That's what they told me. In other words.
Mm.
But now we got Japanese cartoons, got Japanese sushi, we got all kinds of stuff coming. We're the ones that started them
Yeah.
on the Industrial Revolution back in the late 1800s. Because they didn't want nobody in their country. We just entered their country, introduced baseball and whatnot, and the Gatling guns. Because that took care of the samurai warrior. I think they had a movie.
We also introduced him
Called
to the
Shogun.
idea of manga.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
Yes.
A lot of history involved.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
Incredible history.
So,
I mean, a lot of things come from Japan.
Mm.
But
Joe.
Mhm.
any special projects in sight for the future, or
yeah, I'm still working up at the mine, and also I'm trying to finish a plush fox right now. If you go online and look for Plush Life EU, it's a German company that makes these big toys, and they're realistic looking. I saw one sitting down just the way you're sitting. Anybody sitting, and I kind of shook it. I was, "Are you asleep?" And it went flopped over. I said, "Wait a minute, did I kill somebody here?" And it turned out to be a huge toy. I said, "Wow, this thing is neat looking." One guy had one that was gutted out, and he had a zipper in the back. And can I get in this thing? Sure. So I got in this thing, and I was just barely able to fit in it. And he put the stuffing around me, but you couldn't see out of the darn thing because the eyes were still stitched.
Yeah.
And you start heating up a little bit, but you have to be real careful not to move too much. So it was at FC, No, take it back. It was Midwest Fur Fest. And he puts me on the table, and I'm like this, laying on the table. I could hear people walk by. As soon as they touch me, I'd grab them, and you hear the screams.
Yeah.
There's actually a YouTube video. If you go on Plush Life on Twitter, you see this toy sitting on the bed. All of a sudden, it starts to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of those videos.
Yeah. I'm making one for real that I can, but the legs, the legs are like this, in other words, but I'm making them where I can stand up and whatnot. I'm putting foam in the legs, foam in the back of the legs, foam in the chest. Not so much digigraded, it's just plus the hands are plushed, feet are plushed, neck's going to be plushed. So
Mhm.
the head and body and paws are all one piece, just one zipper.
Oh my word.
I'm
Mhm.
still finishing it. And when you get into it, that's it. You're at the mercy of whoever. There's like 8 fans in that thing. 2 for the exhaust, 2 in the chest, 2 in the legs, 2 in the hands. Because you got to get that heat out of there.
Yeah.
Oh god,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Dang.
just got through doing the body. The 6 months ago, I posted the video of what the head looks like inside on YouTube. And now I just got the head. I still got to do some more details in the head. I got the nose on it. Now I got to attach it to the body. That's got to be hand stitched all the way around. It has to be dead even though. It can't look like,
Mhm.
That's the tough part. And there's foam in the neck, foam in the chest is really way out there on that. It is a toy. His arms are small, but the hands are big. And the only part is the thighs are sizable because it is a vixen toy, of the word. So it's going to be a vixen. But the head is fully animated. It'll blink, wink, snarl. Even the eyebrows I made move. So there's actually 6 switches inside the base of the mouth. In other words, I can control 6, 7 motors in that thing. And the head's
Oh,
I
that's
try to
gonna
keep the
be
weight
awesome.
under 10 pounds.
Mhm.
It's Kevlar carbon fiber at the head, and very strong. But it's got to hold as well. It's only 16 gauge. In other words, really thin material. But I mean, all my heads. The older heads are kind of blankets, bed blanket, or bed sheets, and industrial wood glue over a ball. And the muzzle was made out of aluminum. That was my earlier ones. But as I'm repairing them, I replace it with the carbon fiber heads. Makes it a little easier to
Why
put
am
the
I
motors in. I can bolt.
imagining like a furry Terminator, with the fur off?
Yes.
Yeah.
The red eye.
A lot of my friends,
Yeah.
a lot of my friends call me Iron Man because of the way the suits behave.
Mhm.
Come with
If I
me
was
if you want
given
to
the
live.
materials and had the shop with people working there, I could probably pull that off.
Mhm.
I actually made a hydraulic system that you can lift things off the ground. You can sit into it. It's like a battle droid, and you can lift things. I had a tail in the back
cool.
that stabilized me, so it looked like a mechanical kangaroo suit. But it was just there for the support, and it was all hydraulics. And it's like power steering in a car. You know how they work. You turn the wheel a little bit, and there's a pump that assists power.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. It's all mechanical. Same thing. Your feet are sitting
That is
inside of
cool.
a valve body,
Mhm.
and if you move your feet forward, backwards, you can move around like that. And the whole thing's out of aluminum.
So I want a battle mech. Could you please make me a battle mech?
Probably could.
I'm actually thinking worse. Like, we have a friend, and he is really into robotics, but in the wrong possible way ever. So I'm not even gonna tell him that you can build that kind of stuff because he's gonna pester you. He's gonna pester you. I
You'll
mean,
probably be
You'll
dead
have a new
deadly.
best friend.
Deadly. I actually made a
Oh,
mechanical tongue
dear.
for one of my suits. But they were so hard to build, and there's 4 motors in that thing, but I need a computer to run it because the tongue can go out and lick its nose. But it would be too many switches just to get that. And it took
Oh,
too long to
wow.
build.
Mhm.
Yeah. Second tongue I built would come out and come back in again. It's just like those party party favors. You blow the whistle,
Yeah,
those
yes.
things would roll out. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically the
mhm.
same thing with the scissor.
So
Oh, that's
basically
cool.
what direction does.
Yeah. The only thing with that is it's underneath my chin and whatnot, and I have to have a special switch for that darn thing. But I can only make one of them, and I got like 15, 20 suits, and duplicating those darn tongues would be a pain in the neck. Unless I can do the same thing like I did with the tails. Tail driver, there's only 2 of them, but they can fit all 20 suits. So I made the tongue just to have it magnetically attached and plug it in and do it that way. I made a set of eyes that actually the pupil would move around, not the eyeball itself, but the pupil would go back and forth slightly. It was XY axis and a little tiny motor, actually 2 tiny motors with the worm drive. And I was going to incorporate those things in the suits. And I'm going to have little ultraviolet sensors or infrared, not infrared, but the ultrasonic sensors in the front of the nose. If somebody walks by, the eyes will follow them.
Oh, that is cool.
That'd be creepy as hell.
That is cool.
No matter what they do, the eyes are gonna, and I can sit there perfectly still, and I can see the pupils go back and forth. I haven't put them in the fursuits yet, but I'm still working on it. But I gotta make a lot of them. But you can see through the eyes, though. You can see the pupil moving around. It's just cords on either side, and there's really fine tubing that goes to this. Has to be all sealed, though. The whole thing got to be with argon because you don't want any moisture inside that eye. So even the motor driver is sealed. We're talking about micro motors that they use for like vibrators on the phone, like bzz, bzz, same thing. So I use a little tiny worm, and it's just a real, very fine screw that 64th of an inch that pulls on a nut, and it doesn't take much pressure to get the pupil to move. You're only moving the pupil about, not even probably half an inch or less inside the eye. And it's 2 screens actually. The screen in the center will have a hole in it, and the pupil will be covering over the hole, and you just got the XY that does this, so it can actually go like this. It'd be better to have a computer on that darn thing than using my tongue on those switches. But I have to have 4 separate switches just for that eye to go back and forth. Or you put a circuit in there, and as the signal goes out, it fans. It's like those sensors you walk by and the lamp comes on. Basically, it's the same thing. It's a sonic type device. And that's what determines Doppler. That's what makes the eye move. But you need a small computer just to determine where the Doppler is coming from, and then the eye would follow. Damn thing actually works, but just a little bit too much to put in the head. I'll try to keep it simple.
That is cool, though.
More stuff you put in the head, more complicated. A buddy of mine, T.M. Drake.
Simple for
he's
Crazy
working
Joe
on,
level.
Oh, yeah.
Which is,
He's working on
way
a
above
program. Oh, God. It's something else. But
So,
T.M. Drake right now, we're trying to get together on building a circuit with EKG that goes in your head. You can have as many motors as possible, and you program the computer for each motor, each function. You have to tell it what to do. And all this is these little fine wires with gold coating on them that just touches your head barely. It works by galvani. That means not your brain waves. It works by galvani. It says every time your head moves or your eyes blink, it's setting off little pulses. So you got to tell the computer what those pulses do for a living. You transfer those pulses to the motors in the head, and you got a full functioning head. It's like those ears that they sell that go like this, you know, those Japanese ears.
Mimas actually had one.
Yeah, they say they work by your brain waves. No, they're galvanic because you got the plate touches here, and there's a plate back there that touches your head. So every time you get excited, whatever, people don't realize their ears are actually moving, but they don't. This thing will pick up the signal regardless, and the ears go roop, roop, roop. Yeah, that's all it is, galvanic. Just a slight voltage.
Does anybody have anything else they would like to ask? Because I think we've kind of been all around, or is it just me?
No, I think this was a really good interview.
Yeah.
I couldn't thank you enough, for the words.
One thing I
Plus,
could
we gotta
probably
go
not
to
asked
say.
Belgium.
anything, but I've just
One
been
thing I could
in
probably
awe listening. It's been amazing.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Probably one of the things I would probably ask. I like to ask it to a lot of people since you've been through a lot of stuff in your life. If you had someone that's younger like that going through different things, whatever, what would be one piece of life advice you would give to that person?
Live long as possible and don't let that bother you. I mean, like little tiny things, and just say, hey, worry about the bigger picture, and live as like Spock would say, live long and prosperous, baby, and don't let things like drama bother you, like, oh, this guy hates me, or that, or something like that. I hear teenagers,
Mhm.
oh, I'm going to commit suicide. Don't even go there. As life is too short. And I don't know how many times I tell these kids, I wish I had your problems. I'd be the happiest man in this world. Oh, I got bad parents. I say, you haven't seen bad parents. I grew up with bad parents. I mean, worse than hell. All my life I just bring it on. I don't care. And when I didn't know I was a furry, and when I finally got into the fandom and whatnot, I says, so I ain't the only one crazy, having a blast with it. Plus,
True.
a lot of people are so afraid to get out of their houses. They're so afraid even to get out of their rooms. And
Hmm.
I talked to them on the computer. That's their only outlet. And I said, well, it's like being in a spacesuit. You put a fursuit on, you can go out. And nobody knows who in the hell you are. And
Yeah.
none of them are doing that right now. They stay in their fursuits until they go to the room, and then they take them off.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
oh, that's their life. I mean, I forget what they call
Yep.
that,
Yeah.
but each to their own. But at least they're getting
Yep,
out.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
they're getting out, living a
Yeah.
life a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe,
I
it
mean,
has been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so
Oh,
much for being
yes.
with us today.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
This has been
Um,
great.
So, if
Thumbs
no one
up.
else has
Been
any
awesome.
questions, we will say thank you so much for joining us on this show. Please stay or watch us next week. We have some exciting stuff coming up. Please like and subscribe. Until next time, we will see you next week. So have a great
Yay.
day.
Take care and be safe.
Bye-bye.
Lots of
Yeah,
love.
amen to that.
Pip, everyone.
And don't forget the party to drop.
Welcome to This Week on the 6873 Show. Today we have a special guest. Today we are introduce our take two. You get to cut that out. That's why we hired an
Save it for
editor.
bloopers. Save it for bloopers.
Nah, boy, staying.
Welcome to This Week on the 6873 Show. We're so glad you could join us. Today we have a special guest. We have CrazyJoe. He is a fursuit creator, new to living in VR. Has a lot of wonderful stories. So we look forward to seeing him and having an interview with him. So anyway, my name is crap. I didn't do the introduction thing. My brain is mush today. I have to give him work. I have to
Are
give
we
him work.
having one of them
Hold on.
days?
Hold on. You said
Yes.
I'm the derpy one of the group.